Hey guys, welcome back to some more Lord of Heroes. In today's video, we're going to try and answer another commonly asked question, and that is, which Vanessa do you go for first? Do you go for the water or do you go for the fire? I'm pretty much just going to say it's a personal preference. I'm going to explain what I'm going to go for and my logic behind it, but as far as I'm concerned, there's not one that's going to be way worse off than the other. Eventually, you are going to want to get them both, so it's pretty much up to you. It's not the end of the world. But for me personally, I'm going to go for Fire one first. Basically, I'll go more in depth, but just so if all you want is the straight answer of what I'm doing, you can then leave this video. Don't forget to like on your way out. But I'm going to go for Fire just because it's 3,000 diamonds cheaper, or gems, or what do they call them? Crystals? Yeah, crystals. 3,000 of those bad boys cheaper, because all you have to do is buy the water Charlotte. Obviously, it's going to take me a while to go ahead and get all that renown, but for now I'm in hard mode, pushing through. I've just cleared chapter 1 of hard mode. Not too much stress, so I don't see the urge to save up 6,000 crystals right now. I'd rather keep pulling for gear and trying to progress my guys that way. So I'm just going to save up until I'm close to that 500,000. Then I'll start saving my crystals, get to the 3,000, buy the water Charlotte, and then buy the Vanessa. It just seems cheaper to me, but like I said, eventually you are going to go for both. But for me, in these early stages, the crystals, I just want to get as many artifacts and good gear as I can. So that is why I'm going for it. We'll talk a bit more in depth once I go into their skills and stuff like that, but that is the basic gist. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about the Charlotte, to recruit her, you need the 500,000 renown, but you also need to have already recruited water Charlotte, and water Charlotte does cost 3,000 crystals, whereas the water Vanessa does just go ahead and cost 6,000 crystals. If you're a whale, just go ahead and buy this. Don't even stress about it. It's just crystals. Who really cares if you're a whale? But definitely free to play. Like, I wouldn't be trying to get this straight up. Like, you can clear normal without her, no worries. She probably wouldn't even help on the final boss anyway, because the final boss, if the boss kills anyone, you pretty much guaranteed to lose, so the revive ain't gonna help. So now let's jump into their respective skills and discuss. So here is the Fire Vanessa. Attacks the select enemy, damage based on defense. This one heals all allies in proportion to her defense, and also increases their defense. And this one goes down to a 3-turn cooldown with skill ups, effect duration up 1. So it does become a 3-turn cooldown, 3-turn duration defense buff if it gets maxed out. And then we have this one over here, which is the ultimate. Heals all allies in proportion to the user's maximum health, grants invincibilities to all allies for 1 turn, and eventually the spirit cost does drop down to 3, which is a really cheap, nice heal with an invincibility. So when, like, the reason, okay, let's go through the rest of the skills. I was going to start talking. Okay, so increases defense by 5%, and this one decreases damage taken from water element enemies by 5%, which is nice because they're going to be strong against her, so she's going to mitigate a bit of that damage. So you have defense-based damage, defense-based healing, and a defense buff, and then you have HP-based healing and an invincibility buff. So the great thing about her is there's nothing based on her attack, so you can completely forego the attack and not even worry about it. So that is fantastic in that you're going to stack defense to deal damage and also heal, which is cool, but you're also going to buff that defense, which is going to give you more mileage out of it, and then you're going to stack HP as well, because that's going to increase just the effective health, but also it's going to increase the healing of the ultimate, which is also going to give the invincibility. So what we'll do is we'll just leave that there, then we'll read through the water one, and then I'll compare them. Okay, so the water Vanessa, here we go. Attacks a select enemy, heals the user in proportion to the damage dealt. Second skill, heals all allies proportionate to the user's attack power. Grants all allies a leech buff for 2 turns that restores health proportionate to the damage dealt. And then we've got this one here, revives all allies and heals them in proportion to the user's defense. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, why don't you just go for the water one? For me, in the earlier on, especially, I like the fire one because I like how everything is based off defense or HP, meaning you can stack survivability, which is going to be good, whilst also optimizing her effects of healing and damage. Whereas this water one, yes, it has the revive, which is really nice, but the fire one, if you can speed tune it properly so that it moves just after all your teammates and then puts the invincibility buff on for all the enemy team's attacks, you're basically just going to take no damage, so you wouldn't need the revive anyway. I know it sounds a bit simplistic, but then the turn after that, if you don't have the ult gauge to get the invincibility buff, you can just go ahead and heal up if anyone took damage, and you can also give that defense buff to mitigate for the next turn, and then go ahead and invincibility buff again. It's just a really nice synergy on the fire one that I really do like. Yes, there are going to be situations where this one's better, and I think a lot of people do consider the water one to be better overall, but like I said, for the early game, I just feel like fire is the fact that it's cheaper. So let's put it this way, if the water was cheaper to get, I'd probably get the water first. But because the fire is cheaper, I just like the way it's very much simpler to gear, because you don't need that attack power for this one. And also the leech buff is nice, but also as you're working through normal and hard modes, the leech buff is only going to be good on your main damage dealer. You're not going to have enough gear sets ready to make full advantage of this. So that's why I don't recommend rushing this. Obviously, like I said, if you're a whale, you can rush the water one, but that is why I'm definitely going to be going for the fire one first. My green Charlotte is going to be enough for me. If I show you where I'm at, we're in here. Oh, okay, I've got the boss left to go here, and that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to keep pushing through this hard mode. But at the moment, the green Charlotte feels like it's just going to be enough for me. If we have a look at my team here, if we go ahead and look at my heroes, as you can see, my Helga's the only one that's pretty decently powered up. She's at 25. Charlotte's my next best at 16. And then we got 15, 13, and it was the last one, and 14. So these guys are all pretty weak, all on tanky stats, just so they can survive and be utilities. So that leech buff isn't going to give them too much, and my Helga already has leech, so it's not too much effectiveness. So I'd rather be stacking these guys with the defense buff, invincibility, having 2 really solid heals, and that's pretty much why I'm going to go for the fire one. I pretty much just repeated myself a lot there, but in the end, it is up to you. But just keep in mind, you're going to be able to get 2 guaranteed artifacts more by the time you get the healer if you went for the fire Vanessa instead of the water one. And like I said, even if you are going for the water one, you don't want to go too early, because it's just going to really stunt your progress if you save 6,000 diamonds straight up to go ahead and invest in her, because you're going to be losing 4 guaranteed artifacts plus a bunch of other gear that's going to really matter. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully that's enough information that you guys can make your own decision. Like I said, I'm going fire. Let me know what you guys are going to pick. I'm curious. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.